direction. No one can pull me out. I've always felt different from the others. I'm running away now. Fears are fading, won't stop breathing. 'Cause I'm sick of standing up instead of going down. I'm sick of never being able to cross the line. I'm sick of pretending everything is fine. You got it, you're just a fucking freak like me. Burning inside, but I am alive. I'm not the one that you used to know. I've always hated to act like the others. I found my way to. Tears are fading, won't stop bleeding. Bears are fading. 'Cause I'm sick of standing up instead of going down. I'm sick of never being able to cross the line. I'm sick of pretending everything is fine. You got it, you're just a fucking freak like me. I'm sick of standing up instead of going down. I'm sick of never being able to cross the line. I'm sick of pretending everything is fine. You got it, you're just a fucking freak like me. Fucking freak like me, yeah. A fucking freak like me, yeah.
And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night, and it's rock and roll time with the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, the man beside me, the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, we got a special guest joining us right there, a man we've wanted here for a long-ass time, and he's right there. He's the almighty Sheik, Josef Samael. Thank you so much for joining us right here tonight.
How you doing? Thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yes, we're going to have questions coming in from the audience. We're going to be chatting here for a little while. We got Melball Collins joining us. Hey, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in. Melball Ambassador, our boy. Evening, boys. How's it going, buddy? Glad you're able to join in. Everybody get your questions in if you got them. We're going to be talking a little bit of PCW Ultra. We're going to talk a little bit about music because as we were talking just about when we went to go on the air there, you are the owner of PCW Ultra, a company that's been around approximately about 6-7 years now in operation.
Yeah. 7 years. We just had our 7th year anniversary in January. And we're in Southern California, and had pretty much the best of the best zip through our place. We've had the Great Muda, we've had Terry Funk, we've had Ricky Steamboat, and then we've had all the guys from the indies, Penta, Jacob Fatu, everybody and their brothers. So it's been real awesome, man. Great crowd support out there.
And Mel says she digs the bling. Have you not been paying attention there? I've been wearing this for quite some time. You know, I think the thing is go throw us a sub here on the damn channel and you get a spin, but you don't get one unless you sub. Anyway, moving on from there. So we're talking about PCW Ultra. We were finally getting in to check out PCW just recently. I've been seeing a lot of things online, a lot of the connection there that was with MLW. We got into MLW for quite some time. Really love the work with Contra. You, sir, one of the best speakers in the business as far as we're concerned.
Thank you.
Awesome work. But yeah, I started to see all the posts, started to see the connections, a lot of the same talent that's over there. Looked like something we wanted to get into, and we happened upon one of the very early videos, and you had mentioned that this particular one, you guys did about 6 tapings or so in this particular arena before changing up to the look and everything in the arena that you're working with now.
Yeah, that's correct. We started off at the Oak Street Gym, super humble beginnings. Soon we exploded out of there. I think we did 5 shows there. And we brought Rob Van Dam in, and he became our heavyweight champion, and we needed a new building stat. So we got to, we moved over to Memorial Hall, and we've been there for 6 years. And like I said, we just did our 7th year anniversary, and man, it's we're looking at a great show, April 22nd. Got tons of legends coming in. We got Ken Shamrock, We have Shane Douglas, Jacob Fatu will be there. Josh Alexander from Impact Wrestling, on and on and on. So it's going to be another real killer show, April 22nd.
That is a killer lineup right there. That's a bunch of names I like to hear for sure. Awesome, just awesome. Pop Spokes, I'm going to flip this one over to you there. I know you've got a bundle of questions to be asking, sir, so it's time for you to speak.
Well, for sure. First of all, Almighty Sheik, it's indeed a pleasure to have you on this podcast. You've been on the top of our list for people we wanted to talk to and have conversations with on here, so glad to catch up with you, and thanks again for doing this. But for some of our listeners that might not be as familiar with you, could you give us a small run over the beginnings of your start in professional wrestling, what you liked to watch when you were a kid, and then how you got into the business and developed your chops? Particularly, I want to ask you about Puerto Rico, too, because I know that was some of your early time in the ring.
Sure. That's a lot of questions. Let me try to. Watching wrestling. So when I was 3 years old, I was riding a motorcycle with my brother. I was on the back of his motorcycle, and I burned my foot, and I come running inside, and pro wrestling was on the TV. And it was Dusty Rhodes, Florida Championship Wrestling. And my mom talked my dad into going to take me. And so Monday night at the West Palm Beach Auditorium, every Monday night, it was Harley Race was the world champion. Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, was in full effect. The Briscoes, the Funks, Wahoo McDaniel, Mike Graham, Steve Kern, all these amazing, Joe LeDuc, all these amazing, all these amazing competitors. And so that's how I saw wrestling. 3 years old, Harley Race was my world heavyweight champion. And then I started watching, we got cable, started watching WWF, became a big time WWF fan, Macho Man, Rick Rude, guys like that. And then the 90s, just like everybody else, I got out of wrestling for a little bit, and ECW brought me back. And then started seeing the FMW, a lot of the Japanese stuff. And I was always a huge Brody fan. I was a fan of the magazines. So I would see Puerto Rico, and I would see the blood and guts from Florida and Puerto Rico and all that. And I always, Texas. And then I broke into business with some WCW guys that were enhancement talent, that were always on the Saturday night shows. They all could work. And then other guys like Alex the Pug Puerto and Rusty Brooks, and then started being helped by Earthquake John Tenta, Bushwhacker Luke Williams sent me to Puerto Rico. And man, I just got in the wrestling business. I had a partner. I was in a tag team called the Market Crashers, and I was NASDAQ, and my partner was Dow Jones. And Earthquake found us and liked us, and he asked me and my partner to come and work with him at Typhoon. And so we did a feud with them for quite a while all over Florida when John Tenta started a company in Florida for a little while. And the WWE at that time would let their people work on independent shows. So like Sable would be on the show, and, Kevin Nash would come by, and Scott Hall, and, Prince Iakea, all types of guys. And he put us into a tournament with the Bushwhackers and had us work with the Bushwhackers, and they were just, it was their last match actually. And I just remember Luke coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you guys are big guys. You guys are, our boots were brand new. We knew we were young." He said, "You guys are big and strong and young. You guys, take it easy out there." So we were like, "Yes, sir." We went out there and had a match. Came out really well. And Luke came up to me after the show, and he says, "Have you ever been to Puerto Rico?" And I said, "No, sir." He's like, "Would you like to go?" And I said, "Absolutely." Told me he's going to call Carlos Colon for me. And I had been in the wrestling business a couple of years by then. I already knew, like, okay, whatever, believe it when you see it kind of thing. Like, a lot of people would say things, so I didn't really believe it too much or really put too much stake into it. Then one day, Carlos Colon called me up and asked me to come to the island. I asked him for how long, thinking he was going to say, 2 shots, 3 shots. He's like, "Can you be here for 6 months or a year?" And I was like, I got to call you back, man. So I made some arrangements, worked it all out, and went and lived in Puerto Rico to be a pro wrestler. And was in a heel faction with Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, worked with the Invader, Carlos, El Profe, Chicky Star, Thunder and Lightning, Sabu, all these guys, man, Abby, and I was asked crazy. We did 2 hours of TV on Saturday, 2 hours of TV on Sunday. So we learned how to do television early on. Understood, how started to understand, the booker giving us direction, us performing the direction, and then how they presented it on television, and started opening our eyes to like, the hows, the whys, the whens, and you know, when the time is right, how to do things, and how to trust yourself and all that, and just started learning how to work and with some of the greatest, guys in the world, and getting reps, working 5 nights a week, and then got hurt over there. Uh, had some runs around the southeastern region, and started doing Max Pro television, and yeah, that's the first little beginning front end of it. But yeah, I think I answered your questions. That's right, anyway.
For sure. I'm still curious about Puerto Rico, though. I've listened to Ron Fuller tell some stories about that, and he wrestled there in the early 80s. It sounded absolutely insane, the live shows. He said that they were in kind of like a small open air stadium, and the fans that couldn't get in were just throwing good sized baseball sized rocks, like just by, without being able to see, throwing them, trying to get them into the ring, throwing bottles. He said they had barbed wire all along the top of the walls because fans that couldn't get in were trying to climb in and start riots all the time. Did you find it as crazy as that? Is it like that?
Well, all the stories that you hear about Puerto Rico are probably 100% true. It's just it was like going into like 1970s, you know what I mean? Like you touched down there, and the people still believed. The people were passionate. They don't run like they used to back. I was there in the very, very 2000, 2001, 2002, 2005, but they were still drawing early on. Like we were doing, houses 6,000, say we were 12,000. Big shows would do well. But yeah, the fans would they'd throw spark plugs, they'd throw you know fruit at you, hard fruit. They'd throw dirty diapers at you. They'd pee in a cup, and you'd come out the dugouts and you'd have to zigzag, because if you didn't zigzag, like there'd be people right over there throw pee on you. Like it was pretty. Like one time we came through and we were in the stadium, and it was bleacher seating, and we're coming through. So, we're going all the way through those bleachers where they're coming down like that. And by the time we got to the front, we were covered from head to toe in spit, just covered. Like, not like something like you would think, oh, it was somebody spit on us. Like we were covered from head to toe in spit. We were soaking wet. It was pretty crazy. But, somebody would throw a punch in Puerto Rico, and the whole crowd would go, wow! Like it was insane. Like the way they believed, and how they'd pop off body slams, they'd pop off arm drags, they'd pop off, tossing somebody out of the ring. It was incredible, man. It was just really, really a great place to learn. I only wish that that style would just stay. Like everybody, soon after that, the athletic style started, and it was just boom, 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 and that's cool and all, but dude, the way they would just let everything register, the way that they would pull a punch back, and the whole crowd would wait for it, and the whole crowd would come with just the one punch. It was just insane, just so good there. I wish it was still like that over there. It's a shame that it's dead over there, but man, when that place was good, it was great.
So that must be how you got to learn quite a lot of ring psychology then too, right? The interaction with the fans. And
yeah, it was all ring psychology. Yeah.
Well, that must have been a great place to start then.
Yeah. Plus, you're dealing with Sabu, Abdullah the Butcher, Chicky Star, Hercules Ayala. Like you're dealing with masters. So you just learn just by following them. They just put you all in the right spot, and then pretty soon you just start doing it yourself. And I also, the guys in Florida, Florida was really, really great too, because all the old timers lived in Florida. So you'd be on a show and it'd be Dusty Rhodes or, the Malenkos or Steve Kern or Mike Graham. And, there's just, this just wealth, Jimmy Del Rey, this wealth of knowledge, all these guys. And that's, thank God for me, I had like all these people, because like now, most of the veterans are gone, but man, when I was coming up, they were just surrounding you, and like it was great because you couldn't piss anybody off. It was like a snake pit, like so you had to do it the right way, and it was just like, and then you would watch it fruit, like you'd watch it, you'd figure out how to get over, and then when you finally get over, you're like, holy shit, like I did it, like. And then when you're able to control the people, it's like it was crazy working with those guys. I just wish that they were around for the younger guys. I try to help guys and girls as much as I can, because everything I learned, somebody showed me, somebody taught me, somebody told me, so in a car, in a match, in a locker room, wherever, and just, you got to transfer that knowledge or else the business dies, so a lot of that stuff, people are super focused on high spots, and some of the athleticism today is just, it's just the greatest we've ever seen. It's just, there's a few of those guys that just know when to do it. The Will Ospreys or the Danielsons, or there's a few of those guys that just know when to execute it. They have just brilliant psychology through the athleticism, and man, that for me is just the perfect meld of wrestling.
For sure. We do have a couple of questions coming in from Ed Fries here, who's joining us. And I'm going to go to this one first because it stays on topic with what we're talking about. He wants to know about your thoughts on the WWE announcing that they're heading back to Puerto Rico and having Bad Bunny there to help promote the show. He's going to be hosting, I guess, the event there in Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's great. That's great for WWE's business. I don't know if that's going to help revitalize anything, because it's very hard for small companies to get buildings now. So, but it's good for Puerto Rico's economy and for them to see a big giant, show and all that. But, I don't know how good it is for Puerto Rican wrestling. I would hope that, they could piggyback off it, promote there and do something, but stuff's kind of, the economy's pretty bad there now. And the fact that the buildings out there are really, really difficult to come by. It's just hard to run, and I don't think anybody could run like they used to support a television. I don't think any of the companies are on TV anymore. I wonder if they are. I don't even know. But we had, like when I was there, the TV was strong. It was like on the local channel. It was like NBC, you know what I mean? It was like you were there for 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday. So anywhere you went on that little island, everybody knew, it was really cool, but it's just dead now.
Oh, we'll see how that goes. And Ed's other question for you is going to be, what was the first lesson that you learned in the pro wrestling business the hard way?
Oh, I guess the first thing I learned the hard way, I was booked at the Clewiston Fair. It was like I hadn't even wrestled a match yet. And it was kind of like a residency, an annual residency where they would work the Clewiston Fair for 5 nights, 7 nights, or however long the fair was there. And I went out there and they told me to feed somebody for a chair shot. And I just kept feeding. I kept taking the chair shot and feeding and feeding and feeding. And they're like, what are you doing? I hit you with the chair 450 times. And I was like, I thought I was supposed to keep feeding. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, whatever, man. It's how, learn on the job sort of thing. But yeah, I must have got hit with a chair that night probably 17 times.
That must have been quite the experience.
The hard way.
Anyway, yeah,
definitely
the hard way. Yeah. And when taking that chair shot, are you taking that hair shot the hard way as well too, or are you?
Like I didn't put up a hand on a chair shot till Benoit. Until everybody started talking about CTE. when you took a chair shot, if you put a hand up your pussy back then. You know what I mean? Like you take it, wham. You know, you sell it, you protect the business, and if you got some blood, man, poof, good. You know, lay on your back so it spreads everywhere. Show everybody in the audience. You know, get it over. And but you know, that's the way we were taught. You know, probably dumb, but hey, you know, now I can't remember
that's
where I've
the
been.
classic. That's the classic Abbey chair shot where he's got his hands just glued to his sides, so that the chair, nothing interferes with the chair slamming onto his head. Those were the days, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but let's talk a little bit about music for a bit. Let's change it up just a little bit because we know you're a big music fan. We were talking a little bit about Mad Season before we went on here. That was an album that you said you absolutely love. I had not heard of it. Got a chance to listen to it. Really digging that one. So thanks for the recommendation. But want to know a little bit about what are you listening to currently? What kind of groups do you find yourself going back to on a regular basis at the moment?
Oh wow, I've it's like music's like an ocean, man. But right now I'm listening to Merciful Fate, Melissa and Don't Break the Oath. I've been listening to Ronnie Dio's Holy Diver and Last in Line. I've been listening to Black Sabbath with Dio, Heaven and Hell, and Mob Rules. Is those double albums in those little times. So I've been kind of on like a little metal kick lately. I just was on like this huge jazz kick for like, man, probably about a year. I was just listening to Herbie Hancock and Coltrane and Miles Davis and Wayne Shorter, who just passed away, and Sonny Rollins, and man, just all this great jazz. I got into that. And, weirder stuff like Church of the Cosmic Skull. I really love. They're like ABBA meets Fleetwood Mac meets Black Sabbath meets Blue Oyster Cult meets ELO. They're insanely good. Viagra Boys, they're awesome. Real dirty punk rock. We saw them in Oakland probably about a month ago. Yeah, man, just going to shows and listening to everything. You know, punk, jazz, country, good country. Yeah, nothing past. I don't think anything past the 70s for me. Maybe Shooter Jennings, Little White Buffalo, but I'm a big Waylon Jennings, you know, nice. Willie, just old school country, outlaw country. Yeah, man, just a little of everything.
Yeah, no, it's to get to keep the options open and everything. How about the Sheik gimmick, the almighty Sheik? I want to know a little bit more about when you started going by that. I'm assuming because you've been a big fan of the original Sheik himself too. I imagine that's some of where this came from, is an homage to him in a way.
Not really. So like,
okay.
I just read the Sheik's book now, and I've been like fascinated, like infatuated with him lately. I've been like his. I don't know if you read that book that just came out by Ben Solomon.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian Solomon. Man, that book is incredible. Holy moly, that book is so. Probably I've read everything. I've read Hooker. I've read all the wrestling books, all the good ones, not the real commercial ones. But this is the best one I've ever read. But for the Sheik gimmick, I was working with a partner in the Market Crashers. Then we had a run as Black Market, which was like an evolution of the gimmick. And then he decided he wanted to open up a jiu-jitsu studio, and he was done with pro wrestling. So he went and did that, and I was like, oh man, I'm just going to be the guy in the tag team. Like nobody's going to take me serious. I was in a main event spot in my tag team. I was working with Earthquake and Typhoon. I was going to Puerto Rico. I was working on top at FIP. That became Evolve later and all that. And so I was like, man, I'm just going to be. I'm not going to be able to keep a main event spot. So what am I going to do? So I just started thinking, and I just turned the whole table over. I was just like, well, let me just do something. I didn't want to just change a little bit and then it not work, and then try to change and it not work. So I was like, man, let me just go nuts and just completely change. And everybody had been, throughout my career and always said things like, oh man, you're sadistic. You're a savage. You're like, and just the way I would do things, the way I would talk, the way I would cut a promo, the way I would, use weapons, the way I would work. And So I always had that kind of a sadist reputation. And I thought, well, that's a great way to be a big guy, is like to if my personality's big and you fear me, it's gonna add a couple inches to me that I could use. It's gonna give me more, it's gonna make me more of a main event guy. Um, so um, so I was just racking my brain on what I can do, and everybody would always ask me, and it was this. Hopefully, this doesn't come off weird. It was post 9/11, and everybody would ask me, well, what are you anyway? Like, I was racially ambiguous. They didn't know if I was Hispanic. They didn't know if I was Syrian. They didn't know if I was Sicilian. They didn't know if I was Greek. They had no idea what I was. And I said, oh, that's pretty interesting. Nobody ever knows what I am. And everybody is curious. They always ask me. And, they asked me in such a way. So I was like, I could probably um, do a Sheik gimmick. And I was, Abdullah, the Sheik, and I was just thinking, something really. And I was always a huge Brody fan, but I saw Brody as just such a completely different. He's like Bigfoot, he's coming at you like he's a monster. I couldn't really do that, so I saw that lane with that Sheik Abbey lane, and yeah, man, my friend Steve Madison was doing this little show at a Cuban club that was uh, it was a paid entertainment thing, so they weren't our normal fans. Right at the same time, this was all happening, like a perfect storm. And he goes, "Oh, we're going to do this show for this. It's a bought show for this Cuban club." And I was like, "Okay." And I go, "Wow." He goes, we're going to do like Japan Hustle and do different gimmicks." And I go, "You don't say." Okay. I said, "Okay." So I started thinking about it, put it together, grabbed a singlet, started working this lookout, and came out as the Sheik in this Cuban club where nobody could see me. I could basically give it a test run, and it got over, and I was able to work it comfortably, and I had natural instinct in it, and it was just fit like a glove, and it was just one of those things where you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. Okay, I feel totally comfortable. And it wasn't even like I was doing anything. It's like I didn't have to think of anything anymore. It was just second nature, everything. And some people would get really spooked by that when they would work with me, because they'd be like, "Oh, we're not going to call anything. We're not going to do anything." It's like, sorry, you got to kind of work this gimmick. It's just that type of a gimmick where it's like, you can't go to Abby, "Hey, I'm going to do high spots." You kind of got to work Abby's match, so that gave me a lot of protection and a lot of, it put me at ease. Like, I never had to go to a show nervous. Like, what am I going to do? And I always knew what I was going to do. I was going to break everything and beat people up and stab people and get color and burn shit down and break things and push things over, and bells ringing and total chaos. And before it starts, it's over and everybody feels like that something crazy just happened, and they talk about it all the way home. And that's what I did for years. And it took me all over the world, and it's a great gimmick. Now, after I did it at the Cuban Club, I ran it once, and then I had known Sabu here and there, planes, trains, and automobiles, and all that crap in Puerto Rico. And he was going to be on the show the following week. Again, just perfect sets of circumstances. And I said, well, before I do it, I got to ask Sabu before I take it out. And I asked Sabu, and he was like almost like, "Why do you even ask me? Don't even, of course, just do it." So it was like, I wanted to just make sure it was cool. I didn't want him to see me as the Sheik on a show with him and be like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he was just like, "Yeah, you're good." And I was like, "All right, cool." And started doing it. And then maybe a year or two later, I started on my road in the NWA, which was an interesting deal. I kind of went up to the championship in a real working class fashion. So I just did stuff a little, I don't know if it was to pop me or I don't know, to kind of write my story a certain way. But I always just wanted to do things kind of my way, and just do it kind of the way I thought it was cool. And I didn't really care what anybody else thought, or it was kind of like, I always liked the fans, and I always like to give the fans something and provide a service as a heel, and give people an outlet and all that. And I wanted everybody to see a spectacle. But I also wanted to have fun, and I wanted to never work a day in my life. You know what I mean? I wanted to skip school. And I just said, oh, I'm going to go be a pro wrestler. And I was able to just to do it, my way. And yeah, so that's kind of where I landed.
Awesome. We do have a question coming in here, but a little bit of background before I go with this one. So we were talking about Prairie Pro Wrestling, the company that Papa Smokes and I are part of here in Saskatoon area. Our champion, his name, Sheik Akbar Shabaz. And of course, Brian Carter, being a big Prairie Pro Wrestling fan, the biggest one out of the United States of America, wants to know what your thoughts are on our champion, claiming that he's the only real Sheik of professional wrestling and says that he's ready to throw down with anyone who thinks otherwise.
Really? Oh, well, he could have it. He could have it. I had my time. I'm not sure if I'll ever wrestle again. If I do, it would probably be with Jacob Fatu. Not against him. Obviously, he's been my partner for years. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you guys want to book a tag team match, I'll come out there. But
I'm willing to fork out that kind of money. I don't know about you, Papa Smokes. I think we can make
let's
that
do
happen.
it. Let's rock and roll. Let's do it. I don't know if I can get Fatu out there. He might not be able to cross the border. But
we'll sneak him in somehow. We'll find a way.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
I'm not sure what Shabaz is going to think of that too. Getting volunteered for a match against Josef Samael and Jacob Fatu. Good God.
Well, that's just tough shit for Shabaz then, because we just volunteered his ass there. If he wants to be champion, he's got to take on all comers. And as Auntie Wuji saying, that would be absolutely incredible. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Sure would.
Yeah, but let's talk about Warbeast for a second there too, because you and Jacob Fatu have been partners for quite some time. Former tag team champions, both in Defy Wrestling, PCW Ultra as well too. Not sure about anywhere else if you guys have been tag champs together, and what's it been like working with Fatu all these years?
I believe, we're still tag champs at PCW Ultra. We just haven't closed that chapter yet. We're tag champs at APW, but they never came back after the pandemic. They were a large West Coast company in Northern California, and they just they never came back. Then we worked obviously in what's his name, MLW, and but we didn't. We were presented differently there for a multitude of different reasons, but yeah, working with Jacob's great. I've known Jacob now for, geez, I can't even. It's got to be at least 6 years, 7 years. Yeah, man, and I met him in the beginning of PCW, and he was getting on the scene, and I saw him. I brought him over to the company, and I saw him, and I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" And yeah, man, he's just he's my oos, man. That's he's my, he's just incredible, man. Jacob's awesome. I just love watching him work. Sometimes you get kind of, you start looking and be like, watching him as a fan, it's like, holy shit, this guy is some of the stuff he does is incredible, and he's like a sponge, man. That guy is just, you tell him stop, boop, 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 and he'll do something you never knew anybody could do. It's crazy. He's insanely good.
Well, we've mentioned many times on our show before too, in reviewing some of his work, is just that he's so clean. At the same time, everything looks like it hurts the dude. Like, he makes it look
really
tough,
special.
But yeah, he's, how he's not the top of anybody's list right now, or I mean, he must be. I can imagine it's some of the conflicts you talked about with getting him into certain areas that probably prevented him from really escalating a little further.
Yeah, like he's over. He'll be free soon, and yeah, he just building blocks went in place for a certain reason, and everything's happening the way it's supposed to happen, and the world's gonna know about him for sure.
Yeah, everybody we've introduced to his work and everything has always been wild. Like when we did do the review of PCW Ultra and Defy that night, we actually, on the Defy side, is where we saw Warbeast taking part in that matchup there. And again, our own Chris Parrish, who works on the channel here with us as well too, that was his first time seeing any of your work as well as Fatu's work, and it sold him instantly on it as well too. So everybody we've managed to get watching the work of yourself or with Jacob Fatu has instantly been drawn to it. There's just certain things we've picked up on. Papa Smokes introduced me to MLW right away. As soon as I saw you come on the screen presenting Contra, I'm like, this is awesome. This is the way things are supposed to be done. The way you'd come in, cut in with those interrupting little promos and stuff like that, like you were taking over the channel and everything. Just it was absolute genius work. I loved watching that stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how the pairing of something about me and Jacob together is just really special, and I don't see how the pairing of that can't be sold. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying that we're actively trying to go anywhere. I mean, we're Jake's still wrapped up for a second, but I'm free and clear now. But man, when we're both free and clear, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, there's something special about us together, and not just because it's me, not because it's just him. It's something magic. Every once in a while it happens, and we just got something really unique and cool, and it works. It's he's the perfect monster to my Dr. Frankenstein. And even in the ring, I mean, I'm a much older guy, and I've already been in for 25 years, so I'm not keeping up with these young guys. So I have no ego as far as being in the ring. I did it and had a wonderful time doing it. But in that spot as the Dr. Frankenstein to the monster, oh man, that's fun. That's super fun. I would love to run that one more time. It never reached its full potential in MLW. This just for whatever this and that, but it just never reached its full potential. It could have been really, really big. It's unfortunate dealing with independent wrestling. It's really difficult to steer a ship. It's like trying to get somebody to push gas on something, or you have to see all the pieces, and it's just running independence. It's so uncertain, so it's really difficult to work with a company that's not fully funded, to actually be contracted with a company that's not like can do anything they want. It's hard.
Yeah, and it seemed like as we were getting into everything like that too, I know we had Akira Kwan, aka Tristan Taya, on our show, was one of the first people we nabbed on the MLW side, and he was fantastic. It just so happened the day we interview him all about MLW is the day he goes, "Yeah, I just got my notice today that I'm no longer part of the company." Oh shit! What kind of timing is that? So it just seemed like one by one, it kind of just sort of disintegrated, and you were no longer
the Contra,
there, the Contra in general, it just all went away. And Fatu was left there on his own.
Yeah, it was the creative was just going. It was going in the wrong direction, and I got my release. I didn't get my contract didn't end. I ended up getting a release. I was just not into it no more. It was just everything. At first it was real cool. I was it is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, we've had you on here for about 40 minutes. I know we've told you it'd probably be 20 to 30. So I'm just going to go over to Bob Smoke, see if he has any last questions here before we let you get going on with your evening.
For sure. One more question about PCW Ultra. Pump somebody up, give some young talent a little rub here. And who's looking good in that company or in the state of California right now? Who's next?
Wow, I've got a lot of guys. So Jacob Fatu's my ace. So Jake doesn't really need a recommendation. Anybody that sees him knows. We just put the Ultralight Championship on Davey Richards. So there's going to be a lot of young men working with Davey Richards that are going to be getting a wrestling lesson. So, PCW Ultra is a real great place to learn. A lot of legends come through, a lot of guys that are very proficient in their work, like Jacob Fatu and Davey Richards, and a lot of up-and-comers. We had a woman by the name of Viva Van who's been everywhere. I mean, she's gotten super hot, and Viva's been with us. She was our merch girl. She's been with us for a very, very long time, and we brought her up the old school way through the ranks, and she's got the most respect and the best work ethic, and she just has been killing it. We got a lot of great talent coming out of our sister company, PCW AZ, which is Phoenix Championship Wrestling, and they have a wonderful school, and it's run by Don Vitale, and he's got Class coming out of there, who is, if you haven't seen Class, you need to definitely put him on your list of guys to watch. We got also brand new guys coming out: Devin Reno, Grizz Brody, Kevin Koa. I mean, just tons of guys coming out. Zamaya's coming out of there. All these young kids that are coming out, they're being trained the right way. And then we got, Toa Leona, who's on ROH. We've got a plethora of the best female wrestlers in the world, from Sumi Sakaya, Kylan King to Rachel Ellering, uh, um, Masha Slamovich, just all these brilliant women that are just absolutely killing it. Yeah, man, PCWUltra.com. Just check us out. Check out our shows. We got, the who's who of indie wrestling from the young guys to the guys that have been doing it for a minute to the big time veterans to the Hall of Fame legends. Like, again, Shamrock. We just had Booker T. We had Mick Foley. We just got everybody coming through this place. It's a real special place.
Awesome. And you guys do run a service as well, too. It's a subscription-based service for all your content and everything like that. So, again, I encourage everybody to go in, get signed up for that so that you can be able to check out and also to support PCW Ultra at the same time. Two more things. One last thing before we let you kind of plug your socials and everything like that. Because our company here is called Our Local Establishment, OLE, our call letters. And we do a little thing called the Ole Podcast Challenge, where we just get our guests to give us a good Ole before we let you head out for the day.
Okay. Ole!
There we go. Perfect. So
All right.
I gave you a little Tito Santana on that one.
Awesome. Nice touch. We like it. So before you go, though, just take this opportunity to plug your socials, anything you got coming up, let people know where they can find you.
Sure. Everything is at Josef Samael, JOSEF SAMAEL, and then everything with PCW Ultra. Yeah. And everything with PCW Ultra is at PCW Ultra. Yeah, so it's super easy. I got all the socials. I made the names unique so I can get all the socials.
Easy for everyone else, but apparently I can't get things right. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I deserve that fireball. If you're ever in our area, I will stand there and I will take my lesson because I damn well deserve it.
That's what they all say.
I do apologize for that, but what I want to do is thank you very much. This has been an absolute honor. One of the best interviews we've ever had the privilege of doing. Anytime. We'll always welcome back anyone for PCW Ultra. The door is open. Come join us, hang out, talk some wrestling anytime. We're always here on Thursdays.
Really appreciate that. Thanks, you guys.
All right, take care, man. Have a great rest of your evening.
You too. Take care, guys.
See ya. And what a wonderful interview, Papa Smokes, man.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. It's Austin Day. It's 316 Day. So, hell yeah. Yeah. So, I'm flabbergasted. But we got Auntie Woogie. Sorry, I didn't even get a chance to shout out Auntie Woogie other than a couple of comments there. But we did, give you a wave. Sorry, we were right in the middle of learning so many fantastic things about the almighty Sheik. What a guy. And I mean, Bob folks, I saw you grinning from ear to ear. This guy is talking your language when it comes to the guys he grew up with, the guys he's worked with, everything like that.
Absolutely. He's a gray beard like I am, coming from the same time period too. And what a magical time it was. And you saw, or you heard at least, how he was trained in old school ways. And that's how he managed to make it up through the ranks, was listening to all the old timers. I wanted to ask him about Kevin Sullivan too, because I know he's very tightly tied with Kevin Sullivan. That's been his wrestling mentor throughout his career. And man, what a great guy to learn from, a guy that's had success at all levels of wrestling, including in-ring performer to a booker of giant company on TV, WCW and all that. So there was tons we could have talked about. We could have talked for 4 hours, I'm sure, and just kept learning the whole time. But man, I was nervous, Munson. I'm still kind of feeling a little flustered because I wanted to just enjoy this interview. I wanted to not screw up anything as well, but I wanted to just soak it in from a master of the old school like the almighty Sheik.
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm so glad that he was so receptive to doing this and everything like that. Because I know originally when I did try reaching out a long time ago was during that MLW time. And obviously that's kind of around that time when things were slowing down on the MLW side for them. So that's what it clued in. Hey, we haven't been doing much with Fusion anymore. We've got Ring Respect Radio. Why don't we use this platform? It's what we used before to get our interviews. That way we're open to talk about anything. If we're starting to get into PCW Ultra ourselves, Defy, stuff like that. So why not get, the man himself? Like, this is the first time outside of locally that we have had somebody that is involved on the ownership side of a wrestling company. Sorry, promotion was the word I was looking for. But just absolutely awesome to hear about that. We talked to him a little bit before the show went live on the air as well too. Just open up about starting PCW Ultra, about taking that little bit of a hiatus, a break during the pandemic and everything like that. Just a phenomenal guy to talk to and just a wealth of knowledge. And again, I would love to welcome him back to the show at any time too.
Oh, yeah.
Go more in depth, because like you said, we could have gone easily 4 hours. It became a very easy conversation. I could tell that, 10 minutes before we went live on the air, we were just sitting there having a good chat. Like he was one of the guys, one of the bros. It was fantastic. I'm sold on signing up for PCW Ultra now.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so he sent us some stuff to watch, actually, and it is great. Like we did, the stuff we reviewed was back when they did about 6 shows in that arena. That was a gymnasium. It was really, really bright in there. But now, if you look at the stuff that Almighty Sheik has sent us recently, man, if this stuff doesn't look like in some ways, I hate to say this as a fan, but it almost looks like an even more polished MLW, and seems to be where all MLW was plucking the talent from in the first place.
Yeah, well, whether he intended it that way or not, I just like the way PCW Ultra looks now. Is it's got the bright spotlights in the middle of the ring, and then the crowd is dark. I like that.
Yeah,
I do like seeing the crowd sometimes. It's good when the moving cameras can get shots of the crowd. I want to see them. I want to see what they look like and some of their reactions and all that. But from a hard cam view or from a little bit of a distance, I love the way it looks when the crowd is all dark. This makes it look, it gives it a prize fight kind of look. I always think wrestling looks good when it looks like pro boxing kind of, and it has that, the nice professional ring announcer and the spotlights. And it's not about the crowd at this time, especially for a main event. It ain't about the crowd anymore. It's about those guys in the ring. It gives it a seriousness, and I think it's partly nostalgia for me too. Being an AWA kid, those old shows in the Winnipeg Arena were lit just like that. Bright white lights coming down onto the ring, and then the crowd dark and the place filled with cigarette smoke. To me, that's what a real wrestling show looks like. And I think I have the feeling that's kind of the type of idea that he's capturing here.
Well, I think nowadays we would rather a different type of smoke be filling the arenas anyway, but it's
either or.
A Canadian thing.
Maybe both.
Yeah. But, hey, speaking of that, Papa Smokes, while we're here, we do have April 22nd, obviously PPW in town, but a couple of nights before that, it is going to be 420, April 20th, Brian Carter's big birthday. I didn't forget. But it's also, of course, Happy 420 Day. And I'm thinking, we haven't had an opportunity to have a live show on 420 before, and we're known to partake. So I'm thinking, I think we're going big on the green side that night. I think we're gonna have a big night. Have anybody open forum, anybody who wants to come hang out and puff with the video bros, you're gonna be welcome to join us on screen. I think we might even have to go a little extra longer that night, depending on how the crowd's feeling, how everybody's doing in the live audience. Why not? We need to have a big spectacle that night, Pop Smokes. It's going to be our big show for the year. Right there is the 420 episode.
Well, damn it, Munson. If we're going to be smoking that much, I might have to set up in the backyard here so I can really puff my lungs away.
Yeah, you definitely should do that, or at least in the Papa Smokes front driveway somewhere there. Maybe you can set up a chair and some sort of system there. But
sure.
Bastard said he thought that was tonight. Damn, I'm early. You and me both, buddy. You and me both. But we've had a good time here so far, and I'm not quite ready to pack her in yet, Paul Spokes. How about you? I was thinking maybe we got something else left in us here. Don't you agree?
I'm good to go for a bit, Munson. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. We were talking about Sheik, so maybe we do a PPW watch along because we just had a championship matchup that came out on YouTube the other day, but with the rematch between Sheik Akbar Shabaz and Cannonball Kelly. And I'm thinking, what better time to hang out with the fans and do a little backstory on that feud and that championship bout than right now? Hey, why don't I just get this all lined up here and we'll do a little PPW watch along for you guys. How's that sound?
Let's do it, Bob.
Awesome. In the meantime and in between time, we're going to get this all loaded up. No, we don't want to share my entire screen. What do we want to do? Chrome tab. There we go. Share it up. We're seeing her. There she is. And
Okay, Munson, start her up.
Starting her up. Soon. I'm going to be working on a brand new edit here for us very, very shortly. It's also going to feature the song called Akimbo. Akimbo is a song that's been written by a PPW fan by the name of NJ. He's a rapper here locally. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, PP Dub. April 22nd is going to be off the goddamn hook. I'm telling you guys. If you thought the last show was electric, I'm telling you, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're only going up from there. It's going to be phenomenal. Big stuff in store for April 22nd, Bob Smokes. Like, this whole year is going to be absolutely lit when it comes to Prairie Pro.
I'm doing great.
Yeah, from the scuttlebutt I've heard, it sounds like there's a lot of talent coming out for this next show. It sounds like the booking's getting right together. This is going to be great, man. And I love the way PPW likes to step it up with each show. And it's not just backslapping or whatever. The shows have gotten better, and with the developing angles and stuff like that, the fans are getting really invested in it. Now we've got Colton Kelly and Cannonball Kelly in this thing with Sheik Akbar Shabaz and El Assassino. We've got some real bad blood in here, some run-ins, some chair shots, all kinds of violence. And this is just like a pot boiling over here. And we're going to be treated to a nice championship match here with some brawling that I think the almighty Sheik would approve of from Cannonball Kelly, a guy that doesn't care what anyone thinks. He'll take the fight to you and take it right into the crowd. And this guy's got his eyes on the PPW title, and boy, Akbar Shabaz is going to have his hands full.
Yes, they are. And you know what? I would be not a good host if I didn't mention this right now, Papa Smokes. But those two gentlemen right there, Cannonball Kelly and Johnny Two Fingers, they have themselves a band here locally, Johnny Two Fingers and the Deformities. And they're going to be playing live in Saskatoon on Friday, March the 31st, live at the Black Cat Tavern. Papa Smokes, I know that's not far from your neck of the woods there. You might just stumble on over after work there. Check that one out, I'm thinking.
I love the Black Cat. They have all kinds of good heavy music, usually heavy music, metal and punk and stuff like that. And then Johnny Two Fingers and the Deformities have played there before, will fit right in. And I think you've been to the Black Cat once or twice, Munson. Pretty good little place, eh?
Yeah, apparently that's what. Yeah, I was gonna say it's only gonna take a matter of seconds before Bastard pipes in with sucking on a chili dogs to finish the night.
All those fans.
I was just about. He stole the words. I knew he was gonna get in there just before I did. That's for sure. But here we go. Here's the champ. There he is. The one that claims that he's the only Sheik of professional wrestling. Now, we've mentioned this to the almighty Sheik here today, and what a match that would be if we could get something with our champ versus Warbeast. I mean, who knows? Sheik Akbar Shabaz and El Assassino last month here in Saskatoon made a pretty formidable team there for quite some time. Didn't quite come out on top, but hell, that was a hell of a fight. Can you imagine the two of them versus Warbeast in Saskatoon?
Jesus, never mind the ring trying to hold that match, and I'm not even sure the Cosmo Center would hold the violence and action from those four guys. Imagine being the referee for that match. Imagine us trying to do camera work at ringside with that match going on. I mean, my God, I'd be fearing for my life.
I'm praying by that time I found a replacement, but oh my God, here we go. Look at this, right into the audience. And there we go. Look at that. Speaking of our good friend Auntie Wooji, they're serving up drinks behind the bar while these two just absolutely shred each other apart. There's Cannonball Kelly. He's getting a little thirsty here.
Get him a beer. Get him a beer.
I still don't know. Anti-Wuji, let us know. Did Cannonball Kelly ever pay for that, or we still got him on tab for that one? I mean, this is always crazy when we got camera work. Like, we're trying to balance between one of your cameras running all over this place. This is shoulder-to-shoulder people. You try to get in between them just to get to the action and keep up with these two maniacs.
And this is right where the main concentration of fans is, standing at that gate right by the concession there, too. And, boy, those guys better get out of the way. Look at this now. Manipulation of the crowd barrier.
I know Cannonball Kelly particularly proud of this moment. I saw that he clipped this one right from this episode, Papa Smokes, and he's been showing this one off quite a bit. Very innovative, using the, look at that advertise for glitch gifts there. Just getting that shot beautifully right in there. That's a Papa Smoke shot. Absolutely beautiful. Chaos here tonight, Papa Smokes. I can't even keep my composure. I don't know what to look at this. Oh, we got our answers. No, he's not paid for that beer yet. This is brutal.
Oh shit.
I wasn't about to argue. Well, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I understand. You know what? We'll keep it on his tab. We'll get him covered next time. He's a good bro. We'll take care of Cannonball for us.
We'll put it on the champs tab, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that too. Yeah, he can afford it. God damn, he's draped in gold. Brian Carter, this is absolutely one of the best arena battles I have ever seen. These two just absolutely destroy each other anytime they're in a fight together. Just wait till you get to see that full tag match from last month, Brian, as well, too, man. That thing off the hook, insanity. But yeah, these two just going through this. This one, it almost reminiscent of when Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and Jacob Creed, when we had the non-sanctioned fight between those two gentlemen, and just through the entire audience, shredding one another apart. Both gentlemen getting color, like, oh, it was pure chaos up in Saskatoon.
And this is pretty chaotic, too, because these guys don't care where the wrestler's performance area is. They're right out here amongst the people. That's part of the thrill of coming to a PPW show live, is that you are going to probably get some up-close contact with the wrestlers. Maybe not physical contact, but you're going to get a good look at them. Look at these fans right here. They're loving this.
We don't have very many seats, but Cannonball Kelly always finds one for his opponents, that's for sure. But talking about getting up close and personal, he gets the fans to whip him in. There we go. Shakey's down. I've said it before, this place was insane. This place is insane every night. It seems like word of mouth is spreading. Every single time we have one of these chaotic shows, a bunch of more people hear about it, and they've got to see it, and they tell 5 friends who tell 5 friends. For long, we're going to have to turn people away because we're going to be in violation of fire code. I mean, it's getting to that point where we're teetering on the amount of people we're allowed to have in that building.
That's part of the joy of it too with the Cosmo Civic Center here, is that or the Cosmo Hall, I guess it's called. That's the beauty of it, is that everybody's jammed in together, and the fans' energy just flows amongst them because they're so close in there. And when you get the cheering and the heckling and then the chants get going, the fans start amusing themselves and each other, and it becomes so hilarious because they're all communicating with each other and everyone's in on this together. It's such a great feeling.
And as Bastard saying, that's why he shows up at 5:45. Yeah, you're a goddamn trooper, bro. Absolutely. 5:45, sitting out there in the cold of winter. What was it at the last show? Like minus 30 something? And Bastard's ass sat out on the bench outside in a pair of shorts, watching the pre-show to Money in the Bank out of Montreal to keep him warm around the glow of his cell phone before he came in to watch some PPW. But man, once you're in that arena, it's hot up in there. And now that European uppercut as well too. And look at the athleticism of Sheiky there. Like, I mean, we're talking about a big dude. Like, Sheiky is not a small man. He's got to be 6'4", 6'5". He's pushing that anyway. Like, I'm 6'3", and I know Sheiky's taller than I am.
Yeah,
by a little bit.
He's a big guy, and you can see he loves to chuck the weights around too. Likes to walk around with no shirt on and show everybody too. That's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, and Anti-Wuji, I love the closeness of the Cosmo Hall. Yeah, that's what makes it so much fun. I mean, you know, you got to be able to be okay with being around people, because I know as I was standing there working the door at the last show before we kicked off and everything, I turned to JG Muller, our ring announcer, at one point and said, you know what? I don't think I've actually been molested this many times in one night ever before in my entire life. And so you roll with the punches. I mean, everybody's in line to get a beer. It just so happens that lineup's right by where I'm working the door. You get pushed around a bit, you know. It's not like everyone was purposely getting grabby, but you know, shit happens.
You never know, Munson. You look pretty nice in your suit.
Oh, it is a pretty classy suit. It's the only time I try to look decent anyway. Well, yeah, these two gentlemen, we can watch them fight all day long. This is the second match between them. Again, Cannonball Kelly was going for another opportunity in that tag match if him or Colton Kelly were to pin the Sheik. Ended up being that Colton did pick up that win. So at our next show, April the 22nd, it's going to be Colton Kelly taking on Sheik Akbar Shabaz for the second time as well, too. You meet new people. Am I right? Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, the weirdest part is having them come up and, you know, hey, I'm a fan of your show and stuff. And they don't just mean PPW, but like people coming up now and saying that they watch us on a Thursday night and everything. It's been absolutely insane at these shows, Papa Smokes. And speaking of someone who's going to be there on April 22nd, at least coming to party with the bros.
Yeah.
Chris Parrish, how you doing, sir? You missed the almighty Sheik, but you're just in time to watch Sheiky Baby fight with Cannonball Kelly. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. In fact, I believe, Basser, did you not mention that April the 22nd is going to be like the multiverse of madness? You got Twitch stars, you got PPW stars, you've got the PPW fans, everybody kind of colliding together for one big awesome party on April the 22nd.
And as Auntie Woodgie was saying, talking about meeting people, one of my favorite things about PPW shows is the intermission or halftime. As I'm a football fan, I always call it halftime, but the intermission, everybody goes outside, you know, smoke them if you got them, whatever is going on out there. But there's a I've said this before, there's a sense of community that's here in PPW, and it's been growing, like let's just say ever since we came back from COVID, probably before that too. But the way the fans come outside, everybody talks, everybody jokes around, and every single time when I have a puff out there at halftime, I end up talking to some fans, some cool guys. Some people recognize me, some don't, but it's just like we're all wrestling fans and we're all here for the same reason. And it's fun to meet new people. You don't think you're going to, or you can't imagine it, but there's all kinds of fun people out having fun. They want to talk and they want to meet too. And I'm always down for meeting PPW fans and talk to them, especially at halftime, my favorite time.
Yeah, and Chris Parrish saying technically I'm a PPW star. Yes, the other PPW, Pure Power Wrestling. Shout out to Pure Power Wrestling. Yes, Chris Parrish made a lot of time there, but you're still a star, whether you're a fan on April 22nd or not. You're still a star because we're gonna make you a star that night. It's gonna be a good time. I can't wait. Just got a lot of great people coming out. It's gonna be a great card, a lot of great action taking place that night. Can't wait, Papa Smokes. It just this is like fucking Christmas to me right now. Like we're gonna have a good old time up in Saskatoon in just a matter of weeks.
Yeah, it's only a month away now. I'm looking forward to this one too, and you know, finally we've been through a pretty long, cold, snowy winter here too. But by April 18th, it's going to be a different season completely, and that's going to be awesome as well, especially for hanging out at halftime.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm definitely going to be hanging out after the show, no matter what. Auntie Woodgie said, I didn't expect the sense of community, but I love it. Yeah, and you know what? Even I remember one of the early shows that we had right after COVID, I believe took place in January of 2021, if I'm not mistaken, Bob Smokes, or 2022 possibly. But we did that show, and afterwards we went for a drink with a couple of the boys, with Basser, with Jeff, over to the Black Cat that we were talking about earlier, where Johnny Two Figures, the Deformities, are going to be playing, where the sucking on the chili dog story all went down that night. But yeah, it was just a good time, and there was a bunch of the PPW Nation there at that time too, and it was awesome. Walk in there, you start talking to people that were at the show and everything like that, just gauging their interest. What did they like? What did they love about it? And finding out what worked and everything, what they want to see more of, so that you can pass that on to everybody behind the scenes, so that they can keep that in mind, so we can keep giving something back to the fans each and every time. I'm going full brain shut off mode for the 22nd. It's probably a good idea. I, on the other hand, won't be there with full brain shut off mode until after the final ring bell goes and I've packed all the cameras up and everything like that. But once I'm off duty and we've got everything ready to go, I will shut the brain off and we will party. I believe, like the song says, Papa Smokes, because we don't need no sleep because the party don't stop.
It would mean a lot to the
Oh, hell yeah.
PPW Nation are firmly behind it.
And I mean, think of that card too. We might have some big changes in PPW. There might be new #1 contenders. There might be a new champion, for God's sakes. We don't know what's going to happen.
Well, we know the PPW Nation are going to be behind Colton Kelly all the way. He has been a fan favorite since the day he stepped foot in a PPW ring. But again, you got to wonder is, as much as Cannonball seemed like he was okay with things, could he hold just a slight bit of animosity towards his tag team partner, Colton Kelly, there for picking up the victory and getting the shot that he feels he deserves?
That's a huge question, because we were watching that tag team match very closely at the previous show, and the stipulation was if Cannonball or Colton pinned Sheik Akbar Shabaz, whoever pinned him would get the title shot. And once Colton Kelly got the pin, you could see that funny look on Cannonball Kelly's face. It was like, it wasn't anger exactly, but you could tell he wasn't really pleased with the way it went down. He didn't show his whole hand of cards at the time, but he had a pretty funny look on his face, and you knew he was thinking something and feeling something at that time. So I wonder what that was, and I wonder if he'll be feeling it even more strongly on April 18th.
And also got to mention that Cannonball Kelly, Johnny Two Fingers, the Deformities, recently played at the Telemiracle broadcast here in Saskatchewan as well too. So then a lot of big things going on in their lives. As Basser saying, we may have a new hashtag King of the Cosmo on that night.
Damn it. Basser is king of the Cosmo, in my opinion.
Yeah, but we might have to find a new king eventually. I know that I believe Jeff was telling me today at work that him and Braden might have to consider becoming a tag team in order to take over the spot for Basser there. They want to amp up that energy to a whole new level, and you see it in the rest of the fans though, because Basser, you've done an amazing job with it, and certain fans that would keep coming out. Got a steady hand, boys. Good. That's a good thing to know. Thank you. But the energy level that Basser and some of the fans have been bringing to the shows has started to really, that energy is being picked up by the rest of the PPW Nation. They're feeling more comfortable with getting out there and putting themselves out there and just having that energy. And we're seeing a lot of people coming back time after time and everything, familiar faces, bringing new people with them and stuff like that. And yeah, the energy is off the hook. And I could only imagine it's going to keep getting louder and louder and louder up in that arena.
And talking about Basser and some of the louder and more enthusiastic fans of PPW Nation, it's they don't need much prompting to get wild and to get loud right off the bat for the first match. But in a way, it's also like a school dance or a sock hop kind of thing. It might be a little quieter until a couple people start dancing or a couple people start having a good time. Then everyone will join in, and that's the joy of having the kind of super fans, so to speak, like we have, like Basser and the guys, and like Marcel and some of the other just awesome fans we have that really bring the energy. They've been here a lot of times. They know how it goes. They'll start it, and then other people will join in, and other people start other things too, to give everybody credit. But man, it's like a chain reaction sometimes. You hear it start in one corner of the crowd, and then it just spreads like wildfire, and now they're all going crazy. What an excellent and exhilarating feeling it is.
Yeah, it's something else. I mean, I can't stress it enough. And anybody who's going to be in the area to experience it, definitely do so. But again, we absolutely love the people who follow us on YouTube each and every week, like Brian Carter. Like, man, your support has meant the world to us as well too. Just mention it to people and getting the name out there. Absolutely fantastic, my man. We can't thank you enough for being there to support us all the way. And again, if anybody is tuning in on YouTube right now or on the replay of this particular show, if you could do us a big favor, whether on our local establishment or the Video Bros Network, or even head over to Prairie Pro Wrestling, give us a like, follow, subscribe, all that kind of nice stuff. You know what? It takes a matter of seconds. Everybody's got a Google account, so everyone has a YouTube account. Those subscriptions, it takes you a second. It means the world to us, because what it does is it actually helps with the algorithm. It makes YouTube realize that these need to be recommended videos so that more people around the world can enjoy the talent that's in the ring and see shit like that, what Sheiky just did there. That is big man strength at its absolute finest.
And just like a lot of small companies, we were just talking about PCW Ultra, which is a bigger company than ours, but hey, the same thing is still true. Sometimes people would love it. They just haven't seen it. They haven't given it a chance yet because they haven't seen it or heard of it or come across it yet. That's why we want to get the name of PPW out there. We have some of the best wrestlers in Western Canada. We have a passionate fan base. We've got all kinds of great staff and workers here, and we're trying to put together something special. And it means a lot when fans from different areas of the world are watching our stuff on YouTube, watching it on Twitch, and enjoying it, because that's just it. Is a lot of people will like it. They just need the chance to see it.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the boys just got to work for some AEW Dark taping. So if you manage to tune into AEW Dark coming up, you will actually see the likes of Michael Allen, Richard Clark, the one Sean Moore, who joined us on the show here a few weeks back, as well as, I believe, Levi Knight was in a match over there, including Zoe Sager, who's worked for Prairie Pro Wrestling. So, kudos to everybody who got that opportunity to work for AEW Dark. And hopefully, with the announcement that AEW is going to be rolling through Saskatoon in July for a live event, and not just any live event. This is the first time in decades the pro wrestling has been broadcast out of Saskatoon, because AEW Dynamite is going to actually broadcast in Saskatoon, Papa Smokes. It's huge for our city.
Yeah, and for everything that it represents, for me, the most is opportunity for our wrestlers. And like you said, we saw that some of the guys got to do matches for the Dark show and all that stuff. And man, how exciting is that for a major company to come to Saskatoon? That way these guys can go backstage and maybe get noticed and get a spot on there, or at least hang out in the back of a big company's professional show and just get the feel for it.
And Papa Smokes, you can see right here, and of course, Pastor saying he'll never regret his Levi Knight signature photo. You should have. That thing's going to be a collector's item here soon. The guy's on his way to the top. But as you see right here, this match ending in a disqualification. So Cannonball Kelly winning, but not winning the championship. And this is, again, we said it earlier, when you saw that look on Cannonball's face, when he realized he wasn't going to get that third shot, he feels like he was cheated the second time around. First time around, Sheiky beat him fair and square in that ladder match, but this time around, Cannonball Kelly feels like he was cheated. He should have been the champion at the end of this thing. So he's stewing. He wants his opportunity, and he tasted it in this matchup. He believes he should be the rightful champion.
Well, look at the emotion from him and Johnny Two Fingers right here. This is pure, unadulterated frustration and sorrow that he's feeling here. Cannonball Kelly, I think, when he qualified for the ladder match against Sheik Shabaz for the first title reign of PPW, he wanted that belt, man. I think he expected to win it, and he was so disappointed when he didn't. But then he got the second title shot, the match we're watching right here, and how horribly disappointing for him. You can see the emotion all over his face. He just had his face in his hands there, and he was just thinking, my God, this was my second chance, and I didn't get it. Now he had the chance for a third chance, but Colton Kelly has taken that now. He is now the number one contender and receiving the next title match with Sheik Shabaz. So How's that going to make Cannonball Kelly feel? He feels like he was so close that he deserves another chance. But man, same thing with that tag team match last time. He was in a pinning position with El Asesino as well. He felt like he won. He did enough to win this match and earn a spot against Sheik Shabaz, but it's been taken away from him by Colton Kelly. And yeah, just like I said before, that look on his face was really something.
All right. Anyway, Bastard saying, boys, love you, but I gotta make a leprechaun trap with my kids. See you tomorrow, Bobby. See you soon, Papa. Bastard, my
All
man,
right.
as always, love you,
Thank
sir. Thanks for joining us here tonight. And speaking of love, Anti-Wuji showing some love for Johnny. Yeah, Johnny's phenomenal. We
Yeah.
had him and Cannonball Kelly on the show at one point in time. Those two are absolutely wild. What a fun time. And even at one point there, too, the daughter of Johnny Two Fingers, one of his daughters there making a short little appearance in the background. His daughters are hilarious, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what? I could see those two training up someday and getting themselves in the ring. They're fantastic. They got the personality to do it, but they need to put on a few more years before they're ready to start training. But what a matchup, though. Sheik Akbar Shabaz, he's been holding that title for quite some time, doing a hell of a job there for us. And again, that could all come to an end on April the 22nd, but we'll see how that goes, Papa Smokes. It has been a phenomenal run so far for the Sheik, and it's hard to believe that anyone could knock him down. But you know what? That's coming up on April the 22nd. It's been a phenomenal show here. Glad you guys were able to stick it out with us. Please stick around for a little bit longer. We're going to go and raid out here on Twitch right away here. So if you're joining us with Twitch, we'll raid out. Give it all a welcome, as always, to the raid that we do. And yeah, other than that, Papa Smokes, that's all I've got here for tonight. Before we go on over, maybe let the fans know, where can they find Papa Smokes?
They can find Papa Smokes on Elon Musk's free speech playground known as Twitter. I am at Smokes_Papa. And then on Twitch, I'm at Papa_Smokes_.
That's awesome, Papa Smokes. As always, again, if you're looking to find me, there's an easy way to do so. Check the ticker down below. But you can also catch me here this Sunday with my Brunch Buster brother, Chris Parrish. We're going to be going off the rails with Busted Out. As always, a great show. Also want to say a happy birthday to our good friend Jared Fritz, NWA official here on Austin 316 Day, celebrating his birthday. Hell of a guy. Jared Fritz, happy birthday to you, my friend. And if you want to have a chance to work with us here at our local establishment, maybe you want to be a guest on a show, or you got something you want to let us know, check out all our socials, likes, follows, subscribes, or check us out through email. We're welcome to emails as well, too. Make sure you do that. And check out rogueenergy.com, OLE pods, for 10% off of your order. As we're heading on over now, I'm looking at the list here, Papa Smokes, and I'm thinking that we're going to throw this one out to somebody new here altogether. We're going to give this an absolute try. We're going to see if Badger Man TV could use a little bit of an OLE welcome to boost his rating a little bit here today, and hopefully we'll get something in return from Badger Man down the road as well too. So there we are. We are rated on over. If you're with us on YouTube, thank you for joining in. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you guys next Thursday night for more fun under the sun here at Ring Respect Radio. Take care.